All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Welcome to another client interview on the channel. I'm with my boy Jared. How you doing, big dog?
Bro, I'm good, man. It's good to be out here for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I just wanted to use this video as a way to talk about Jared's story, his success he's seen, kind of like the whole journey, give some motivation to the guys, give some insights and things that you've learned. We can talk about this mastermind too that we're doing, and just kind of dive into the whole thing. So.
Sweet.
First, to kind of just cover like your story, where were you at before you even like got into high ticket sales? Like before you even were like looking into like making money online and that stuff?
Yeah, so I mean the traditional route, just what everybody does, you know. Going to college, I played baseball for a few years in college. It's kind of just wasting time doing what every kid does.
Yeah.
Just working 9 to 5. You know, I was raised in a blue collar family, so I was a big manual labor guy, doing construction, landscaping, things like that. Just pretty unfulfilled with life, I'd say. I mean, the only thing I ever worked towards was baseball, really.
Yeah.
And I knew I didn't have quite a future. You know,
Yeah.
I definitely wasn't going to go pro. So
Okay.
I figured it was time to, do something that was going to be more meaningful for the rest of my life.
What about it was unfulfilling though? Because obviously, like most people do end up going on the path.
Yeah, so I mean, I just knew I was meant for more, and especially in my position, I was a full-time student. I was working full-time as well, so working 50 hours a week, just busting my back, doing stupid work that nobody wants to do.
Yeah.
And I just knew there was more out there for me, better ways to make money, something that gave me a purpose just besides waking up, doing the same thing every single day and barely getting by, paying my own tuition, rent, groceries, everything like that. I was barely surviving, and I was working the hardest I've ever worked. So I knew that there were smarter ways to go about it.
Right. And you didn't like enjoy your work?
Definitely not.
Okay.
It's just
Some people they barely get by, but at least they like kind of enjoy it.
Yeah, I definitely didn't. Just operating the shovel all day. It wasn't for me. Yeah, like I said.
Okay, gotcha. And so when you first started looking into like making money online, you said you started looking into alternative paths. Like, what did that look like in the beginning?
Yeah, so I mean, I just had a complete like paradigm shift overnight, and I was checking out the online money making space on YouTube, just like everybody does. And I was delusional, I knew that I could find success with whatever I did. I worked really hard, and I'm driven for, my purpose and the goals that I've set. So I was checking things out. I drop shipping, affiliate marketing, things like that, but I never really had the skills to be successful with anything. And the only skill set I had at the time was I thought I had a good mindset, So I dropped everything that I was doing. I was still in college, and I was like, I'm just going to try and start a business from scratch and do a mindset coaching and consulting business, because that's all I was good at, or so I thought, as you learn. But no, that was kind of where it all started.
Well, just because you have a good mindset doesn't mean you're going to be
exactly.
I feel like a mindset business. Yeah.
You got a good mindset but no skills, So that's what it was.
And then kind of walk me through that experience. Obviously, like I know, but walk the audience through, because one of the biggest things that I try to tell guys is like, don't actually start a business as a beginner. You should actually build skill sets first, make money, get experience, build skills. Do that for like even just like 2 years, like maybe even less sometimes, and then start a business. So like you actually started a business first and then kind of went back, wasting time and money, and that's kind of talk about that experience.
Yeah, so as Trevor said, I mean, starting a business from scratch with no skills or anything like that was not the right move. And I realized that, and I learned quick enough. But yeah, I tried to start from scratch, having no idea how to build an online business, how to create content, how to market, anything like that. So tried to start the mindset coaching and consulting, quickly realized I had no skills. So I took a step back. I said, I see these guys that are working with these info product businesses. They're making money for a business that's already established. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to start their own business. They just go in and work for a successful business owner already and then make a percentage. So I understood I needed to build my skill set. I needed to get better at sales, especially if I wanted to sell my own product. So I said, hey, I'm going to take a different route, dive into high ticket sales. and just polish up as much as I could and learn the ins and outs of an online business before I tried to start anything myself again.
Yeah. And you don't have to like name drop or anything, but you did work with like a pretty big mentor inside of the space when you first started like the coaching business. So I guess like you don't have to like put anyone on blast or anything like that, but with doing that and starting your own business, like do you think it was more so that like you said, you were lacking the skills, or do you think there was maybe something else going on?
Yeah, so I personally was definitely lacking the skills, and investing in a massive program for one of the top names in this mindset kind of niche may not have been the best approach. I learned a lot, and it's brought me to where I am today, but it definitely, I was just so delusional at first, and I was so determined to start something and pursue something that I said, this quite a large investment, especially in my position that I was struggling financially.
It was like seven.
Yeah, 7.5K, and I just didn't have that money. But I said, hey, if I put my head down and work, I can start to make some money, which I didn't with my own business. I still worked really hard to obviously pay that off, just with my 9 to 5 and things like that, just hustling. But yeah, it was a brutal kind of wake up call in the early stages.
Yeah, and before we talk about like getting into high ticket sales and some of the success that he's seen with that now that he approached it the right way, how was it like in the beginning before doing that with like the coaching business and some of the other business models that you tried? How was it like balancing that with a 9 to 5 job? Because one of the most common things that I hear from people is like, Trevor, I'm already in a 9 to 5, or I already have college going on. Like I don't have time to be able to do something else on top of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to say you don't have the time. I mean, I was working 50 hours a week. If I could find the time, anybody can find the time. And it's truly about the dedication and the motivation to get out of that situation that you're in. If you're dedicated to make a change in that life, something's got to change, and you can't just use that as an excuse to get nowhere. I mean, you're in the driver's seat of your own life. I can work 50 hours a week and come home and work the remaining however many hours of the day on what I want to do. If that's your purpose, and if you're driven to actually make the change that you say you want, you're going to do the work no matter what.
100%. And it's like, if you use this excuse that you have college or a 9 to 5 job to never end up starting something on the side of that, then it's like you're going to stay stuck in that forever because
1000%.
You're always going to be busy. It's like you're never not going to be working a job to be able to have income. So you're never actually going to be in a position where you can start something and build something of yourself to where that can eventually take over that 9 to 5 and be able to quit, which you actually did. I'll talk about that later. Okay, so kind of transitioning then, you got started in high ticket sales. You were like, yep, I need to build skill sets. I need to get better at sales. Then maybe I can run my own business in the future. Got started in high ticket sales, started working with me. What made you want to work with a mentor? Like, why not just try it on your own?
Yeah, I knew that it was just going to be years of trial and error. You don't know what you don't know. And obviously investing in a mentor, somebody that has achieved exactly what you want to, is only going to fast track the process. You're getting over that trial and error, all the beginner mistakes that I would have made if I tried to just do it on my own. You outsource the help, and especially one-on-one, close-knit kind of program like yours, you get the help you need. I mean, I built a skill set of appointment setting in like 2 weeks. So if you do what needs to be done, you get the help that you need. I mean, it's relatively simple compared to if I just sat and tried to do it on my own.
And then so you were in your 9 to 5 job, you started doing high ticket sales on the side of that, obviously started working with me. Talk to me about your experience with just doing high ticket sales in general for the first few months of like getting that whole process started.
Yeah, it was a grind for sure, but going back to my point that I stated a few minutes ago, if you want to make a change, you're going to do the work. So I put my head down even while I was working a 9 to 5 and still built the skills, still put in the time and attention to, make something happen with it. So I was working quite a bit, building the skill set, getting confident to the point where I could get on an offer and, find results for myself and the business owner, obviously. You get with some lower tier kind of offers at first, but you have to put in your time, you have to build the skills. So it's inevitable to not expect to make $10,000 in the first 30 days. You know, that's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
There's levels to it, and you have to start somewhere. So build the skills, get on a small offer, and then you can eventually move up from there.
Yeah, and let's talk about like your offer history. Like you don't have to say any names or anything like that, but talk about like the first few offers that you landed in order, and then like what were they doing in their offers, and like how much were you making in those offers that you landed, how hard were you working, etc.
So I've worked for, I'd say, about like 7 offers at this point, maybe 6. So the first one I worked with a tech like kind of job placement, not necessarily just job placement, but building the skill set of this certain kind of niche that they were in. And then there was also support with finding the job. So I was obviously setting for that, and I worked pretty hard. You know, I was working 12-hour days, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., just setting in the DMs. And I made, you know, decent money for a first offer. I was making probably anywhere from like $1,000 to $2,000 a month. Pretty inconsistent, but you know, that was just kind of expected so early on. And then I stacked a few other offers while I was still on that first offer. I usually would work 2 at a time if I had the time for it.
Plus the 9 to 5, dude.
Yeah, it's a grind, dude. If you want it, you're gonna do it. So I worked for some songwriting offer. That was like teaching artists how to perfect their craft. I didn't know anything about that. It's not really my cup of tea. You know, you could say that offer wasn't great. You know, it's just trial and error. I was testing out other offers while I was still on one, so I quickly learned that that wasn't the best offer for me. I think I maybe made like $2,000 in total with that offer. And then I've been on trading offers, I've been on fitness offers, bounced around to quite a few. I'm on an Amazon FBA offer right now, which has been the offer I've been on for, I'd say, about like 6 months now, maybe a little bit less.
That's been like the best one of the
Definitely, and you work hard, man, but you do see some results. And if you're on a pretty decent offer, you know, I mean, if you're putting in the work, you're gonna get a return.
And before we talk about like how much money you're making on the offer right now, you actually quit your 9 to 5 job.
I did.
Which is fucking sick, dude. It's like one of the things that I like really want guys to do when I'm signing them up and helping them. Like obviously money's nice, but like the whole idea is being able to get the freedom, not have some boss tell you what you can't do.
That's it.
So like obviously there's never like a set destination where it's like I'm gonna quit my 9 to 5 here or there. You kind of just like pulled the trigger. Walk me through and walk the audience through like your decision making around that, and like what prompted you to want to quit your job and just go all in.
Yeah, so I felt at one point that I was kind of half-assing both. You know, if I'm working a 9 to 5 job while I'm also setting, but I'm also, you know, setting while working a 9 to 5 job. So I'm not dedicating all my time and attention to grow with high ticket sales when I have a 9 to 5 job. So I understood that if I wanted to grow, if I wanted to get, you know, past that benchmark that I was stuck at, I needed to make it a full-time thing. And what held me back for the longest time was the safety net of a 9 to 5 job. You know, it's a consistent income, the same time every month, whatever it may be, and it paid the bills. It did what I needed it to do. But I understood that, you know, I was hitting a plateau basically. I was just stuck where I was because I wasn't doing anything different. And in order to see that change, you have to change your situation. So I made the decision like, hey, if I really want to take this serious, if I want to see the results that I do want to see for myself, I have to get out of this 9 to 5. Like that's what I wanted when I started, was the freedom. So why am I scared of taking that step and getting out of the 9 to 5 so I can't have that freedom? So it's really all or nothing. You know, you can't half-ass what you're doing. If you want to see the results, you have to make it happen. So I did make that choice to get out of the 9 to 5, and it's been amazing. You know, I'm able to move around. I'm able to come to this mastermind. You know, not be tied down to an office to, you know, a boss telling me I can't take my vacation because it was denied, like some bullshit like that. So it's been nothing but a blessing since I have made that decision for sure.
And you know, it's easy to say looking back at it, like, oh, I just had to do it. But like, how scared were you when you actually did it?
I was terrified, dude.
Yeah.
I was terrified. I mean, I had a few thousand in the bank, you know, I had money set aside and I was prepared for it.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're getting out of your comfort zone. You're getting away from something that you're so used to that there's always just going to be fear that comes with that. It's natural, but
Yeah.
I was terrified to say the least, for sure. But here we are, and it's been great for sure.
Yeah. And looking back at it now, do you wish you quit sooner, or do you
1000%.
Okay.
Yeah, I would be so much further if I did quit. But you know, I had a different situation than a lot of people. I
For
pay
sure.
bills. I have a lot of things that I had to take care of. So that's what sat with me for so long. Was
Yeah.
like, this is what's going to help you do that. Bullshit. You
Yeah.
know. So yeah.
And how much like extra energy and like clarity did you have after you quit that? Now that you have the full
So
day
much.
to just like grind.
So much, and you see like an instant return, you know.
Yeah.
Like being able to dedicate all your time and attention to that is obviously going to bring so many benefits, and being able to move around, like that's just what I wanted, was that freedom and not to have a boss barking at me all the time.
Mhm.
And I can do that now, and there's just so many, you know, so many more opportunities that come with that, just the freedom overall.
Yeah, yeah. And so with the Amazon offer, with what you're doing right now, you're still on it, obviously. What was your record month of that?
Yeah, so I hit like 5.6K, I think, in the month of September.
Fire.
So it was decent, and we're looking to climb. We're not comfortable there, you know. It was
Yeah.
a good month for sure, and you always want to see more. You have to raise that ceiling as you continue to go.
Yep.
But yeah, it was a decent month for sure.
Yeah. And what are you at so far for November? I think we were talking about this.
Yeah,
the
so
other day.
just for the week, I'm at like 1.7K.
Let's
so
go, dude.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's not bad.
This guy we were doing our mastermind stuff. Like I was presenting, giving all the guys some sauce. We did like a yacht day, and this guy was just grinding like every like crevice of that he could. He was taking a call. He was on his phone doing DM setting, just putting in the fucking
It doesn't
work,
work.
man.
It doesn't stop, dude. You know, you always got to put in the work.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
So what's the future plan now? Like obviously 5.6K per month is like pretty solid as a setter,
Mhm.
and it's like you're getting towards the point where you're like almost like mastering it.
Yeah.
It's like down to a science.
Mhm.
What's the future looking like?
Yeah, so we're definitely going to prioritize closing.
Mhm.
I've been doing some downsell closing calls already for my current offer
Yeah.
to kind of transition, build up the skill set of being able to close. So that's next step for me for sure, going full-time closing. Obviously, money's going to be better. With closing, higher percent commissions. So we're going to grow from there. But long-term, like I'm definitely prioritizing starting my own business, you know,
Yeah.
whether that's credit repair, whether that's teaching dudes how to do exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah.
There's always opportunity and more growth to come. So I do have quite a few plans, you know, but next step is to get to 10 to 15K per month just closing.
Yeah. 10 to 15K. Is that like the new target?
Definitely.
Fire.
Yeah.
Fire. Yeah. I mean, I realistically think you can get there in the next like 2-3 months.
Oh yeah, if I put my head down and work and, you know, kind of change the certain flow to my day to day, like we talked about a lot, like a setting framework, a daily kind of framework. I just have to, you know, really make those changes, and
Yeah.
I think it's definitely attainable for sure.
Shit, man. It's on YouTube, so you're locking it in.
Yeah, held accountable now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes, sir.
And then you and I have been talking a lot, obviously, over the past couple of days.
Mhm.
Sick to meet you in person, obviously.
Absolutely.
You talked a lot about getting outside of your comfort zone, and like level 1 of that was quitting your job.
Mhm.
Now I think level 2 of that is moving out of your hometown.
Definitely.
So like, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like it's something you need to do? Do you feel like it's something you should do? Like,
Yeah.
talk about that. And then also, obviously you haven't done it yet, but if you want to share with the audience like some value about like getting outside of your comfort zone, and like, you know, what you did with quitting your job, that
Yep.
type of thing, that'd be sick.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, first off, getting out of my hometown is something that is very necessary in
Yeah.
order to achieve what I need to in these next few months.
You're in like a smaller town, right?
I am, yep,
Yeah.
and it's just me, you know. I've had a lot of buddies, you know, that I grew up with, and some of the dudes I've tried to bring along the journey with me, you know, but
Yeah.
unfortunately it's just not meant for everybody, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, people, to each their own. So I don't have a group of entrepreneurs around me. I don't have a lot of people to push me and grow with me. And that's kind of held me back a little bit. I'm stuck in my room 15 hours a day, just in my little sanctuary, just on my computer working by myself. I don't socialize. I don't do anything crazy. So being able to, take that next step, it might be out of my comfort zone, just like it was when I quit my 9-to-5 job. But we saw what came with that. You know, getting out and into a different environment is only going to bring a return, like I mentioned it did when I left my job. So I understand that it's something that needs to be done. I do need to get around other entrepreneurs, other people that are about this stuff, that are really putting in the work on a day-to-day basis, and that's going to help me get to the next level. For sure.
And for anybody who doesn't know, he's from a small town in Colorado. Like, you don't got a dox.
People showing up to my house. No.
But where are you gonna move, dude?
Oh, dude, Tampa.
You gotta move out of your hometown. But where?
So Tampa might be the way for sure. I've always, in my head, I'm like, oh, it'd be so cool to move to a different country, and something like that. But I just know I need to be around dudes with a like mind, people.
So important.
That's really it. So whether that's here in Tampa, whether that's somewhere else, I just need to get a close group of dudes that are going to help me succeed. And I do see the potential of Tampa. I loved every second of being out here. So.
And it goes both ways too. Like, it's obviously important to meet people in person, but also like if you're trying to do like making money online, even if it's like high ticket sales or something else, dude, I don't really care. If you're gonna do something like that though, it is an alternative path. It's something that most people wouldn't recommend for you to do. And so like with that, you have to be around people that are also going down that alternative path. Otherwise you're just gonna get like sucked back into everyone else. So whether that's, like you said, meeting people in person, being around these type of people in person, or like at the very least in the beginning, just getting around these people online too. Like obviously, like inside of my community, you got all the guys that are doing high ticket sales too. So it's like you're not like meeting these people in person, obviously, but you're seeing other people win and trying to go down that same path.
Exactly. I've met a lot of boys in the space for sure, just online, and it's really important to get out and network with those people. I mean, even if it's just online, you don't meet them in person, but you still have those like-minded individuals that can hold you accountable, even if it's not, in the same place. You're still going to have homies that, are doing exactly what you're doing and want to see you succeed, and you want to see them succeed. So iron sharpens iron, and it's a great thing. Just how we just met, a few days ago. I have homies that I haven't met at all that I consider really close friends, and just through the online space. For
that's
sure.
Fire, dude. And then just real quick, towards the end of this interview, or for the end, I guess, I just want to talk a little bit more about like your experience working with me and like if you recommend it, and don't have any bias. Obviously, like I don't care what you say, I'm gonna post it either way. Would you recommend this for people, especially if they're like looking into making money online and stuff like that?
Yeah, 1000%. As we mentioned, my first program earlier, it was massive. There was no personal feel. There wasn't a lot of accountability. You were just a name on a list. You didn't matter to the business owner. He didn't even know you. So getting into your program, I was like the 8th person in there, or whatever it may have been. It's still a really close group of dudes, and to meet up with you in person, like I wouldn't have had that opportunity with my other, programs that I've been in. So it's a really good personal feel, and Trevor's been great with holding me accountable and direct one-on-one help when I struggle with something. Like, he's there to help you. So I 1000% recommend Trevor's program and getting into the community, because I wouldn't be where I am today if I didn't get in with Trevor. And that's just the reality of it. That's it. That's the truth, bro. That's the truth.
Let's go.
And I'm forever thankful for what you've done for me. I'm
sure.
sure everybody else feels the same as well. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't be here in this position, even making the money that I am right now, if I didn't take that chance. If we didn't meet in the circumstance that we did, So it's been a blessing, and nothing but good things to say about your program.
Fire, dude. Fire. Well, guys, hopefully you guys got some good insight and some good value from the story. It's obviously a pretty interesting story. Like, you literally went from trying all these different business models. It was kind of similar to me, trying all these different business models, trying to start a business, transitioned in, took one step back, and everybody take a couple steps forward here in the
Yep.
very near future. You got the cash, you got the skills, you got the experience.
Yes, sir.
You can really start leveling up. If you guys want to work with me, you probably know where to find it at this point. I say it in a lot of my videos, so you can book a call using the link in the description, or if you have questions about it, you can DM me on IG. But hopefully you guys got some good inspiration and value out of this video, and you guys take care and have a good one. Peace.